Welcome to Colonel Basketball Weekly, featuring the head coaches of Nicholls State University basketball, J.P. Piper and DoBee Plaisance. Today's program is presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional, dedicated to patient-centered excellence. Colonel Basketball Weekly is also sponsored by Rouse's Supermarkets. You're either local or you're not. And People's Health, your Medicare health team.
Good afternoon and welcome to Colonel Basketball Weekly, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. After a split of a two-game Southland Conference road swing, the Nicholls men's basketball team returned to Stopher Gym last Thursday night, playing host to new conference rival Houston Baptist. The Colonels were looking to keep their unblemished home record intact while keeping pace with the upper half of the league. With a number of big men out of the lineup, the red and gray turned to sophomore Sam McBeth, who has been coming on strong following a string of injuries that kept him out for the better part of the year. It was his first start of the season. The Huskies, a young team, no seniors, sophomore guard Rob Lewis leading the way for them. They were coming off their first win as a member of the Southland. Colonels led for the first 35 minutes. TJ Carpenter gets it going early with a bonus ball. TJ with 13 points. He was 3 of 6 from the outside. Nicholls up 10-2. HBU hanging around 11-minute mark. Marcel Smith weaves out of traffic here, gives to Tyler Russell, who drains the 18-footer. The Huskies shot 51% from the field. Russell scored 16 points. That one pulled HBU within 2. About 3 minutes to go before the break. Got a one-point game. McBeth and Amin Torres play catch. Sam from the corner pulls the trigger. He had 8 points and 6 boards, plus a block and 2 steals. Colonels up by 4 at the half. The lead grew as big as 14, but midway through the second, HBU turns it on. Lewis with a paint runner. He had 18 points, played just 21 minutes. That hoop started an 18-5 run. Inside of 6 minutes now, the Colonels clinging to a one-point advantage. Smith out front, the drive and kick to Alex Fountain. The Huskies rally from 14 down and take a one-point lead. Fountain scored 13 off the bench. Back and forth we went. A minute and a half left. Nicholls back up 1. Pedro Maciel goes and gets a deflected pass. The Brazilian with a big drive and bucket. He scored 7. It's 63-60. The lead is 2 with 20 seconds remaining. Russell with a pretty drive, spin and finish. With 13 seconds left, the contest is tied at 64. The Colonels' 2 leading scorers this year, Dantrell Thomas and Jeremy Smith, were non-factors in this one. In fact, Thomas fouled out with 7 minutes left. Someone else would have to be the hero. Maciel with the drive, and he finds McBeth for the go-ahead bucket with 2 seconds left. HBU's desperation shot well off the mark. Nicholls stays perfect at home, 5-0. They move to 4-1 in conference with the big win. Nicholls limited HBU to 1 of 8 shooting from downtown and scored 30 points off 22 Husky turnovers. These teams will meet again in Houston later on in the season. So, Saturday's game took on a little extra meaning as a pair of upstarts, Nicholls and Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who were both picked to finish in the bottom half of the league, each showed a 4-1 Southland mark. The Colonels hadn't lost at home, while the Islanders picked up wins in their first 3 league road games. Something had to give in this one, and it lived up to the billing. About 4 minutes in, Nicholls down 3, just good ball movement. Jeremy Smith gets hung up in the air, but finds Shane Rillier for the corner 3. Shane showing he can score. He averaged 10 points last week. A minute later, Joy Williamson is short from the top of the key here, but Rashawn Thomas with tremendous wingspan, able to get his hands on the rebound, the stick back and foul. Thomas, a promising freshman, scored 11. Colonels went on a 12-0 run before the Islanders got it close again. Under 6 minutes before the break, just a few seconds on the shot clock here as Amin Torres fires it up. The pull-up 3 put Nicholls back up 7. The Colonels went 8 of 24 from downtown. Game tied, though, at 39 at halftime. About 9 minutes to go now. The lead changed hands a couple of times. TJ Carpenter up top. 61-55. Carpenter with 11 points, his 7th game this year with 3 or more 3 balls. Corpus wasn't about to roll over, though. They move it around the perimeter and into the hands of Cole Martinez, who drills it. That sparked a 10-0 run, giving the Islanders a lead. Under 2 minutes left, Colonels down 2. This time it's Brandon Pye with his short stroke. Pye went 3 of 4 from outside, scoring 11 points. Down to the final minute. Coming up here, Rillier with the drive and kick. Carpenter is off the mark, but the rebound is tipped to Jeremy Smith. The bucket puts Nicholls down 3. they would get a shot to tie it. Let's take you to the closing seconds here. Colonel's trying to get the ball to Carpenter. Corpus defends well all around here. Smith is forced to fire up a desperation shot at the buzzer. No good. Ball game. The Islanders win it 70-67. The Colonels dropped to 7-8 overall, 4-2 in the Southland. Nicholls got a little sloppy with the ball in the second half, and it hurt them. Joy Williamson with a big night on the boards for Corpus Christi. The Colonels with a midweek game looming at McNeese State. Let's take a look around the Southland Conference standings entering this week. Stephen F. Austin, the lone unbeaten, but the next 5 teams are within a game and a half. That pack includes the Colonels. Sam Houston and Oral Roberts have been playing well as of late. UNO is just outside the top 8. Lamar is still in search of its first league win. With 2 games last week going down to the buzzer, head coach J.P. Piper is all too aware that every night in the Southland has the potential to get your heart thumping or to break it.
No, there is never a dull moment. And, really proud of the effort we got out of our guys. I thought we competed for 40 minutes. There's an obvious desire by the guys on the floor to do whatever it takes to win the game. Unfortunately, we had some things go against us, some turnovers, missed shot here, offensive rebound for the other team there that ultimately ended up costing us the game. But I think if we can get that kind of effort and intensity and desire on the floor, we're going to win more than we lose throughout the conference race, and I feel like we're getting better and better. I told the guys after the Sam Houston game that I felt like we played 14 minutes of good basketball. This team is a similar caliber to Sam Houston. I thought we played 36 minutes of high-level basketball. That last 4 got us. But that's a lot of progress in 1 week's time. And we're going to keep getting better and kind of just keep our head down and keep working. And I think we're going to like what we see when late February, March rolls around, and hopefully we make a run in the conference tournament.
Coach, you had told me and a lot of people before the season this offensively was the deepest team you've had in your 10 years as head coach. That's really borne out through especially the past month or so. Up and down the lineup, starting lineup, bench, doesn't matter who's in there. Everybody's a threat to scoring double figures on a given night.
Yeah, and I think that balance is part of the reason for our success. We have a lot of guys that can score the ball. And we also talked about not having a Fred Hunter or an Anatoly Bose. So there's not one superstar player that everybody knows. This guy's touching the ball every time. The closest would be DT, but he's so unselfish and so willing to share the ball that it creates great balance. And we need that to continue. I was pleased in the game against Corpus to see Shane step up and have a good night scoring the basketball. We need that going forward. Jadante Fry starting to play with more confidence. Luke Doyle playing with more confidence. Amin finally broke his drought behind the three-point line, got a big three-pointer late in the first half. So some things are starting to come together for us offensively. We need to continue to do that. I feel like the offense is a little behind the defense, but it's catching up. And as all that comes together into February and early March, I think we'll put a heck of a run together.
This is a tough stretch for you, 3 games in 6 days with a midweek game at McNeese on the docket here. Really a time where you don't have much adjustment to make, or at least time to make those adjustments. You just got to plow forward, get through the next 48 hours or so, and hopefully pick up another win.
Yeah, the real priority at this point is just to protect the players' bodies, protect their legs. So we didn't go live today. We did a little bit of running just to work the soreness out, did a lot of shooting. Tomorrow we won't go live for very long, probably 10, 15 minutes at the most, just to go over a scouting report of McNeese. But I'm going to be honest with you, they know what to do. We know how to guard. We know how to rebound. We know how to run offense. There's not a great need to go live. It's more about making sure that we feel good, we're full of energy, and we can run up and down the floor for 40 minutes. That gives us the best chance to win. So it is a quick turnaround, but I like where this team is. Now, I've had teams in the past where I felt like we needed to go for an hour or two because we weren't ready to defend or we weren't ready to run offense. We're fortunate with this group. They're a good defensive bunch, and they have a good feel offensively, so we don't have to push them at all. We can kind of back off here and protect them, which I hope gives us a great chance to get this win at McNeese on Tuesday night.
All right, Coach, we'll go over that McNeese game on next week's show. We'll talk to you then. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
The head coach of the Colonels, J.P. Piper, will be back with more of Colonel Basketball Weekly presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional in just a moment.
You may know Thibodaux Regional Medical Center is the only hospital in the region recognized by J.D. Power & Associates 9 times. But did you know they're the only hospital in the region to receive HealthGrade's Outstanding Patient Experience Award 6 times in a row? The only hospital in the region to receive 9 Summit Awards? And the only hospital in the state whose cancer program has received the Outstanding Achievement Award 3 times? Sam's mom, Liz Dietrich, knows. Families know. Thibodaux Regional Medical Center for expert, compassionate care.
Donnie, I'm in Rouse's at least 3 times a week, and I want the best prices every day.
Come on, Chef. Let's go shopping.
All right. There's got to be at least 1,000 items just on this one aisle.
At Rouse's, we stock more groceries than anyone else.
I can see that. So what's with the tag? Best price every day.
It's the Rouse's guarantee. You're getting our lowest price every day.
So when I see this tag,
you know you don't have to wait for a sale.
I can shop any day
and get our best price every day. Rouse's. You're either local or you're not.
Welcome back here to Colonel Basketball Weekly, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional. Nicholls is back in action next weekend. The men's basketball team hosting Oral Roberts on Thursday. Then it's Central Arkansas coming in on Saturday. That game is set for 3:30 in the afternoon. You can hear both contests on the Colonel Sports Radio Network, presented by your local Super Chevy dealers, including our flagship station, ESPN 100.3 The Game, which can be heard in New Orleans, the River Region, and the Tri-Parishes. Thursday's game will be aired live online on ESPN3, and our friends down under can watch that matchup live on ESPN Pacific Rim, airing in Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. Now, that telecast isn't coming out of nowhere. The Nicholls men's basketball program has been cultivating ties in Australia for a long time now. Tiffany Williams has the story.
The ties that bond Australia and the Colonel men's basketball team were established 2 decades ago, when current Nicholls head coach J.P. Piper mentored an Australian exchange student while working in the Louisiana high school ranks. Today, this Australian pipeline has provided Nicholls not only a string of outstanding players, but also has presented the university an opportunity to expand its international diversity. Throughout the years, a total of 16 Aussies have played or coached for the Colonels. According to Piper, some of the team's best players have come from down under. Stars such as Stefan Baczynski, Ryan Bathy, and Anatoly Bose have been named first-team All-Conference before moving on to have professional basketball careers in Australia and beyond. This year's squad features an Aussie assistant coach plus 6 players, including Sydney native Sam Macbeth, whose adventures playing basketball in America surpassed what he could have imagined.
It's crazy, like playing in front of like nearly 17,000 people at Indiana, like just 3 weeks ago. Like that's a crazy experience that I wouldn't have had in Australia. Like even the professional leagues over there, they don't get up to 17,000 fans. You know what I mean? And even high school here. Like I used to play basketball like on an outside court, like at school, and high school kids here, like the best high school kids are celebrities. So that's a crazy thing to me.
Along with the great experiences the players receive on the court, Nicholls offers its imports a positive environment off the court as well. Since these Aussies cannot return to their families as often as their American teammates, the Nicholls campus and Thibodaux community are there to welcome them with open arms, giving them a home away from home.
I've been here now 13 years and have a lot of close friends in the community, and so those folks look forward to actually hosting the Aussie kids on the holidays. So they'll cook Thanksgiving meal, they'll cook Christmas dinner, and they invite the kids to their homes, and they really enjoy entertaining those kids over the holidays and kind of treating them like their own children.
I like the way Americans love Australians. I mean, it just makes it so easy to like make friends and stuff. As soon as you go to like a fast food restaurant, people hear you speaking, they come up and like talk to you and stuff. I mean, you just always feel like you're around people, you don't feel alone, even if you don't know anybody. And it's quick to make friends. I mean, it's cool.
I mean, I love Nicholls. It's like there's a family, there's a real family core unit. Everyone looks after you. Everyone knows each other. You can, you walk from your room to class and you say hello to everybody. You shake hands with everybody. Like it's a really tight knit kind of thing.
While they don't have a chance to play in front of their friends and families often now, these Aussies are excited to have one of their games aired on ESPN Pacific Rim, giving those back home who can't watch the Colonel's games online a chance to see the progress they have made in the States.
That's awesome because that means a lot of my friends can watch that as well that like don't have the pass. So you chuck it on Facebook and people watch. It's cool. They get to see it on TV. They think you're like famous or something.
The Colonels are now global, and the Nicholls Australian pipeline is flowing at a greater rate than ever before.
It has been a key factor to the sustained success of the program and has introduced another unique element to the already culturally rich city of Thibodaux. For Colonel Basketball Weekly, I'm Tiffany Williams.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. The Nicholls women's basketball team came up empty on a recent two-game Southland Conference road trip, but home has been very comforting. They'd won 10 straight at Stouffer Gym, going into their first ever meeting against new Southland member Houston Baptist last Thursday. Sophomore guard Imani White entered the weekend leading the league in scoring at 18.5 points a game. This one back and forth early. About 10 minutes in, White holding, then makes her move. Imani on her way to a 22.5 steal performance. Nicholls up 14-13. Still leading by one, under 6 minutes to go before the break. Monet Neal turns and finds Rachel Arthur. HBU takes the lead back. Arthur led the Huskies with 18 points. 4 minutes remaining in the half. The Colonels start to separate. KK Babin's drive cut off. She dishes out to Jasmine Scott over to Shea Arnick, her very first three-pointer of the year. Nicholls went 5 of 11 from downtown in the first half. They're up 28-22. Just before halftime, the trap at midcourt. Scott with the steal here and the finish. Jasmine off the bench with 7 points, 7 boards, and 2 steals. Nicholls up by 9 at the intermission. Houston Baptist had 24 turnovers, but the Huskies rallied. With 12 minutes left to play, Webke Bruns scoops up the loose ball in the paint, dishing to Shanice Steenholt. Bruns with 8 helpers and 9 rebounds. Steenholt scored 15. It's 47-46 HBU. The Huskies build a 10-point lead. 3 minutes to go. Babin's layup skims off the rim, but Marina Lilly is there for the putback. Colonels down 62-54. It's a 1-point game with 30 seconds left. HBU ball. Colonels don't foul. Taylor Jefferson passes out of a double team. Bruns finding Erin McGranahan. That puts the Huskies up by 3. Last chance here for Nicholls. White puts the ball in the hands of Jenny Nash. She'd get a look, not a great one. A leaning 3 falls short, and so do the Colonels. 66-61 HBU. Nicholls struggling to hit buckets. That was their 3rd game in a row under 40% from the field. Their 10-game home win streak snapped. For HBU, a milestone night, their first conference road win in almost 7 years. We had 8 ties and 18 lead changes in that game. On Saturday afternoon, 2 teams looking to right the ship squared off in Thibodaux as the Colonels hosted Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who were also mired in a 3-game skid. Back to Stouffer Gym, Imani White right back at it. About 6.5 minutes in, the steal, and she scores at the other end. She was on her way to another big day. Colonels up 15-9. Less than a minute later, Brittany Bamalou knocks down the 3 here. The Islanders are one of the best shooting teams in the league from downtown. Bamalou was on her way to a record-breaking night. Colonels trailed at 36-30 at the break. A few ticks into the second half here. Jasmine Scott would drain the bonus ball. Corpus led by 11 early in the second stanza. Over half of the Islanders' shots came from beyond the arc. They went 9 of 31. That was Jasmine Shaw there for the Islanders. But Nicholls would get some stops and get back in it. Colonels go inside out, and Taylor Morrison buries the shot from the corner. That 11-point deficit whittled down to 1 with 15:30 to play. Morrison had 9 points. This one got sloppy. Teams combined for 52 turnovers. Shea Arnick gives it away here. Taryn Gregory on the helper to Shaw. She scored 11. The Islanders back up 8 at the midway point of the second half. Again, though, the Colonels come back. 6 minutes left. Morrison's shot misses the mark here, but Jenny Nash is there in place for the putback. Nash with 12 points and 7 boards. We got ourselves a 1-point game again. The lead would go back and forth. We're tied now at 60, just over a minute to play. Shaw drives and dishes, but Nash stuffs Lexi Harris. 5 blocks in this one for Nicholls. About 40 seconds left. Colonel ball, the inbounds to White. The shot clock is running down. Takes about a 24-footer and banks it home. Just let it go up. That proved to be the game winner. The Colonels would go on to the 67-60 victory. White was pivotal down the stretch. 6 points and a steal in the last 38 seconds. Brittany Bamalou hit 7 threes in 12 tries for Corpus, a new school record. She also scored a career-high 23 points. The Colonels improved to 8-9 overall and 3-3 in conference. 3 weekends in, we have a competitive race at the top of the South, and just a half game separates the first 4 teams. No club in the league has won more than 2 in a row. The Colonels are currently tied for 9th. The top 8 teams get into the conference tournament. There's still 12 games left to be played, though, so Nicholls has a whole lot of time remaining to make up some ground. The Colonel women return to Stopher Gym next weekend. You can listen to both games on the Colonel Sports Radio Network, presented by your local Super Chevy dealers. Nicholls takes on Oral Roberts on Thursday at 5:30. Then it's Central Arkansas coming in for a 1 o'clock tip next Saturday. KNSU 91.5 FM will carry both contests. Thursday's matchup against Oral Roberts will also be shown live on ESPN3. Head coach DoBee Plaisance made no bones about it. The Colonels needed that win back on Saturday.
It was incredible, and the must-win sensation, if you will, came at many, many levels. Obviously, the tactical have to get the win, but there were so many things we had to do to pull off that win, and I think it took us to the turning point, or that point we needed in the season, just to get that win, and let's keep the ball rolling and get that feeling, and just don't go back to the previous week's feeling.
You got some players that are really developing into keys for this team. We often talk about Imani, KK, and Jenny Nash. Taylor Morrison has come on with some big threes as of late. Jasmine Scott always seems to get that critical rebound when you need it. It's really rounding into a total team.
Actually, in a staff meeting this morning, we were discussing that we're not playing our best basketball yet, and we're still in the hunt for a plethora of outcomes for this season, and we're starting 2 freshmen. And the learning curve has been interesting. However, with Taylor and even with Marina Lilly, I mean, they are coming around, and their best basketball so far ahead of them. And with Jasmine Scott, I will keep singing this song till her eligibility is up. She is a tough matchup when Jasmine Scott shows up. I don't think there's an answer to her when Jasmine Scott shows up.
Looking forward to what's to come, Coach. We appreciate your time as always.
Thank you, Mike.
The head coach of the Colonels, DoBee Plaisance. We'll talk more Colonel basketball coming up on Colonel Basketball Weekly, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional.
Welcome on back to Colonel Basketball Weekly, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional. Folks, there are plenty of ways to keep up to the minute with Nicholls Athletics. Find our new page at Instagram.com/ColonelSports or at YouTube.com/Nicholls Athletics, Facebook.com/GoColonels, and Twitter.com/ColonelSports. Folks, classes are back in session here on campus, and student athletes across Nicholls Athletics are back to work. Alex Tillis gets us ready for the semester.
With the arrival of the new year, Nicholls Athletics spring programs are getting in gear. The track and field team set a high standard last year with multiple championship performers. The remaining squads hope that they too can find the success needed to bring home the title. Internal expectations are high for the Colonel baseball team, following the disappointment of the last 2 years, when they missed out on the Southland Conference Tournament on the final day of the season. They'll play a challenging slate again in 2014, including the likes of LSU, Tulane, and BYU.
My expectation for our club is to make sure that they maximize their potential and be the best they can be every day. And we know as a staff and as a team that if we do those things, that we have a chance to win our conference and go a very long way in the postseason.
The Colonels softball team also fell just one game short of qualifying for last year's Southland tournament. Senior pitcher Katie Mulder feels it will take a collective team effort in order to excel this season.
One thing I like about this team is that we have depth at every position. We don't have just one player at each position. We have 5 pitchers, we have 3 or 4 catchers, we have depth everywhere, so we can pretty much use anybody whenever we need.
Entering its 3rd season, head coach Angel Santiago has focused on improving certain key positions.
Our middle infield. I think our middle infield is going to be a big factor of our success this year. I think we made pretty good amount of errors last year, in that spot. So hopefully we're going to minimize that.
The club opens their year the weekend of February 7th at the Lion Classic in Hammond. The Nicholls track team opened their spring season this past Friday at McNeese State. Along with a pair of gold medal performances, the team had 7 top 5 finishes. 2013 Southland indoor and outdoor champion Chriselle Roll has high expectations for herself as well as her teammates.
I'd like to hope to become the 2014 Southern Conference champion indoor and outdoor again, and I'd like to go on to NCAA's, regionals, and hopefully nationals. And as a team, I think we just like to get a lot of scores.
The men's and women's tennis teams fell short in their season openers, with the men losing at South Alabama 6-1 on Saturday afternoon, and the ladies being handed a 4-2 loss at LSU on Sunday. With a lot of young players on both teams, head coach Meenakshi Sundaran likes the enthusiasm he sees.
The excitement is always nice to have at the beginning of the season. When you have juniors and seniors on the team, they take a little while to get going. But with this team, they're ready. They want to play. They're ready to, they're eager to experience it.
Returnees from last season believe in being mentally prepared in order to achieve success.
I think we have to be confident that we are a good team because, we're a small school, we play some big schools. I think we just need to be confident with our team because we have really good players and don't underestimate ourselves.
Thank you very much, Alex. Folks, it's time to announce our Rouse's Student Athlete of the Week. Louisiana's Best can be found at your local Rouse's or at rouses.com. Ashley Johnson and Tessney Carruthers won the first individual medals for the Colonels this season. Johnson took home the crown in the 600-meter run event at the McNeese State Classic, earning the title by nearly a full second. Carruthers thoroughly dominated her field in her event, winning the 3,000-meter crown, a full 10 seconds ahead of the second-place finisher. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back with more in a moment here on Colonel Basketball Weekly, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional.
You may know Thibodaux Regional Medical Center is the only hospital in the region recognized by J.D. Power & Associates 9 times. But did you know they're the only hospital in the region to receive Healthgrade's Outstanding Patient Experience Award 6 times in a row? The only hospital in the region to receive 9 Summit Awards, and the only hospital in the state whose cancer program has received the Outstanding Achievement Award 3 times? Sam's mom, Liz Dietrich, knows. Families know. Thibodaux Regional Medical Center for expert, compassionate care.
Folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Colonel Basketball Weekly, presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional. We will talk to you again coming up next week. Until then, take care.
Today's show has been presented by the Sports Medicine Center of Thibodaux Regional, dedicated to patient-centered excellence. This show has also been sponsored by Rouse's Supermarkets. You're either local or you're not. And People's Health, your Medicare health team. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.